Okay. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us for another TOE Learning Camp, our online travel education. Today's topic is going to be why you should book travel now. Things are obviously a lot different in the world, and it's a little scary now to consider traveling at times, and we don't really know when things are going to come back completely, but it's a great time to consider booking, and we're going to go over why. First of all, there's the best availability that you're going to see at any time in the future. A lot of people have canceled. A lot of things just are open and haven't been booked yet. And as we get closer to the travel dates, as always is the case, it'll get filled up. Secondly, right now we've got the best pricing and or we've got guarantees for the best pricing, and I'll explain that when we get to the individual ones. But basically, you're going to pay the price you're going to pay right now, and if the price goes down, we can always get that adjusted for you, but more than likely the prices are going to go up, especially when the cruise lines start filling up. And right now you have the most flexibility because of the offers that are out available to everyone. And best availability. So one reason why there's a good availability is a lot of people cancel their trips when they just were a little bit concerned about whether or not things would be back to normal, if things would be normal at the time that they wanted to go. So we've seen a lot of cancellations. In fact, we've only got a couple bookings left this entire year right now. A lot of the cruise lines are going to come back, and same with the tours, they're going to come back with reduced capacity initially. And so if you do want to be on a sailing, especially an early sailing, if you book now, you're going to make sure you get in before they cut back the capacity. You're also going to be giving yourself a chance of potential upgrades. Now, this could be an upgrade on a particular ship to a better category because they want to spread people out, but it could also be an upgrade to a different ship. What we feel is going to happen is that initially the shorter cruises are going to come back first. So your 3 to 5 night sailings, short Caribbean and Bahamas, and they're not likely going to use the older ships when they do that. They're going to want to have a larger ship that's more fuel efficient, is got more space so that they can, so people can socially distance a lot better. And so what very well could happen is, let's take the Celebrity Infinity, for example. You're booked on a 5-night Christmas sailing, and they decide they're not going to bring the Celebrity Infinity back right away. Instead, they could put in or put everybody on the Celebrity Sky or the Edge or the Apex, and just upgrade you to a better ship, just because that's the ship that they're going to be using. So I think it is possible that you could put yourself in a good situation. So much so that I booked myself on an early December Infinity sailing, just in case. Best pricing. Right now, the cruise lines want you to put down some money. The tour companies want you to put down some money. So they're offering a lot of great offers right now. Celebrity last weekend offered 3 perks. Everything except for the onboard credit was included in the price. They've got another promotion coming up next week that is a free beverage package plus money off. Disney just released some special pricing on trips at the end of this year for Disney World. Celebrity and Royal Caribbean both have different offers every single weekend. So there's a lot of different offers right now. So it's a good time to lock in the pricing with a good offer. Most prices are going to be based on supply and demand, and what you have to understand is if they're reducing the capacity on the ships, the demand or the supply is going to go down. So the pricing likely when they reopen is going to start going up. I wouldn't be surprised if the prices we're seeing now are the lowest we're going to see for quite some time, because the demand will be much higher. People who are diehard cruisers want to get on board as soon as they can. Those of us who have missed 4 cruises already this year want to get on board as soon as we can. So they won't have as much supply, but there's going to be more people who want to get on board. And like I said, they're going to start out with just a few itineraries and a few ships. So it's definitely going to drive the prices up fairly quick once they get going. Once you do book, we can always get your prices adjusted if the pricing goes down. So there's no risk in booking now and putting down a deposit. The most flexibility, there's a lot of new policies in place from just about every cruise line. Surprising, Carnival was not one of them, and a lot of the tour companies as well. And I've got a few examples here. This applies to both Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Azamara, and Silver Seas. If you book your cruise before September 30th and you are traveling up until May 4th, 2022, if you decide up until 48 hours prior to sailing that you don't want to go on the cruise for whatever reason, even no reason at all, you just don't want to go, you are able to cancel and get 100% future cruise credit. If the cruise line has to cancel your sailing, they're going to give you an enhanced offer or give you an option of getting a full refund. The lift and shift isn't really going to apply too much because we're getting so close to the September 30th deadline. But basically, if you have a cruise booked, you can move it out within 4 weeks, either side of what your current date is, and they will protect your pricing and your promotion, or your pricing and your promotion. So if the price has gone up quite a bit, that's a good deal. But that's not, if you haven't booked yet, that might not be applicable. The best offer guarantee, basically anytime up until 48 hours prior to sailing, if the price comes down on your sailing, we can get that price for you. If it's after final payment, it comes in the form of an onboard credit. If it's before final payment, your price is just adjusted. So that's on anything that is booked by September 30th. After September 30th, then the best price offer is only available up until final payment is due, and then penalties would start and we couldn't get that adjusted. So this is something that is an exclusion just for those booking now. With Disney, they have a similar situation. They've got the cruise date flexibility. If you book by October 31st and for a sailing that goes through May of 2021, you can change your sail date up till 15 days prior to departure. What's important to remember about Disney's is your penalties at the time that you transfer do take effect. So if you book a guaranteed balcony, a VGT category, that's payment in full, it's fully non-refundable. If you decide you want to change it, you can up until 15 days prior, but at no point will that become a refundable rate. And even if you cancel, even if you change it to a regular rate, you would still not be able to get your money back on that. If you cancel 15 days prior on a 7-night sailing, you're in full penalty. So whatever, if your cruise costs $3,000 and then you cancel later, even if you paid more on your cruise, you still would be penalized at $3,000. So that's one thing to keep in mind with Disney's plan. This one is Norwegian Cruise Line. They're offering, if you book a 2020 sailing, you can cancel up to 48 hours prior, but if you're booking through October of 2021, yeah, this one says March 31st of 2021. I thought they went through October, but I guess it's, oh, it's, yeah, 21. It is through October. It says it both things on this one page. You can cancel up till 15 days prior and use that as a full credit and use that for sailings up until December 2022. And you can, your final payment is 60 days prior for all sailings up until March 31st, which is half as far or half as close to the cruise as it normally is. It's normally 120 days that final payment is due. So they're updating their final payments so that you can still get a full refund up until 2 months prior. And Disney World is offering flexible cancellation through the end of this year. You can cancel up until the day of arrival and still get a refund. So instead of having the $200 penalty on rooms or on packages, you would be able to cancel without any cancellation fees at all. This is the Globus family of brands. That's Avalon Waterways, Cosmos, Globus, and Monograms. You can change to a different one of their brands to a different destination or anything within, just checking which one this is. This is on any of their 2021 sale or 2021 trips. You can change it to a 2021 or a 2022 departure. And then this is the Travel Corporation, which is Trafalgar, Insight Tour or Insight Vacation, Luxury Travel Gold, and Uniworld, just to name a few of the companies that they work with. They have another one as well that you can be assured that you can cancel or you can change your plans without a penalty. So why should you book with Travel on a Dream? We know the rules. We know which policies apply to which companies and what you can do and what you can get away with or what you can't get away with. We know all the deals that are out there. We get many emails every day from all the different companies, and like for an example, Royal Caribbean, their plans change every single week. We get a new deal and we stay up on what's going on so that we can get the best deal for you. And we know how it all works together. We did want to mention to you that we're changing our terms and conditions going forward. As many of you know, we're not paid until you travel after you book the travel through us. As a result, this year has proven to be quite challenging. The cruise lines, for the most part, have supported us. If you were paid in full and canceled your trip and took a future credit, or the cruise lines canceled, they did pay us. Tour companies did not. Disney World a little bit, but not since they've opened. Now, if you cancel on the day that you're supposed to go, we don't get paid. So we have installed new cancellation change in service fees, which will be disclosed to you at the time that you do book a new trip. This won't apply to anything that's already booked. Under many of the relaxed policies, since the cruise lines are protecting us, we have agreed that we will not charge you a cancellation fee if the cruise line or the travel company does cancel on you. If you do cancel and you take a future credit and they're protecting us, we will waive it as well. We will also waive any fees if you rebook your travel dates with us within 30 days. We would expect you to give us a credit card just in case you don't, and then we would charge you the cancellation fee if you don't. And our cancellation fees are minimal, $50 per person for cruises. For more extensive travel, it's $75 per person. So it's not an extreme it doesn't come close to covering what we're losing by the canceled booking, but it does compensate our agents for some of the time that they put in. But we do have a special for you to kind of take advantage of what Celebrity is offering, as well as you know, all the deals that are out there and the Cruise with Confidence. If you book a new 2021 Celebrity cruise and you make a deposit by September 16th, if you book an inside room, you're going to get free chocolate covered strawberries, an ocean view room as well, chocolate covered strawberries. If you upgrade to a balcony, concierge, or aqua class room, you'll get your choice of a $50 onboard credit or specialty dinner for two. If you upgrade to the retreat, so any of the suite categories, you'll get a $100 onboard credit and specialty dinner for two. So that's what our Celebrity rep said that he's willing to do to hopefully get some people to bank on the Cruise with Confidence and get ready to plan for a future cruise. And that concludes the presentation portion of this. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing and unmute everyone. Or not, let's see. I guess I can't just automatically unmute you all, but you can unmute yourself, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them.
What cruise lines have started cruising at this point? Have any gotten
MSC,
tried and they stopped and then?
yeah, MSC has had a couple sailings in the Mediterranean. They've been very successful. Hurtigruten and Sea Dream both have been sailing since, well, they were sailing since June, and then they did pause for a while. I'm not sure if they're back to sailing. Paul Gauguin, I believe they're back to sailing, but I haven't heard for sure yet. They did pause for a couple sailings. And there's a couple other TUI, and there's one other one in, the ship is Mein Schiff or something like that. It's a Royal Caribbean owned company. They did a sailing in Germany. It was a cruise basically to nowhere. They went to the Baltics, but they didn't stop anywhere. The MSC sailings, they did Mediterranean sailing with stops. Now, shore excursions were required to be booked through the cruise line. And there was one family who chose to not stay on the shore excursion, and they went off on their own, and they were denied to come back on the ship. It is definitely a requirement that for them, for right now, that you have to do their shore excursion so they can control the situation a little bit better. They do also, MSC is doing testing at the port when you get there. And on the second sailing, they did have someone test positive at the port, and they denied their entire party boarding. And there was about 15 people that they didn't allow to get on the ship because one person tested positive. So they are definitely taking it serious, and they haven't had any incidents on board.
Do you think more of these cruise ships are going to go to the self-testing, or the airlines are going to go to the self-testing before you board a plane to go international?
Well, you know, Tahiti is that way right now. And several other destinations, Jamaica is that way right now. Dominican Republic is that way right now, but they are changing. They're going to make it a random testing when you arrive, which I kind of like it better that you have to test before you get on the plane than to randomly be checked when you get there, because you know, what if you're positive?
Well, that guy behind you or in front of you.
Right. I expect that at least on the short term, we'll see a lot more places requiring testing. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the cruise lines did do self-testing, or not self-testing, but they did administer tests when you come to the port. Kathy, did you have a question?
Yeah, do you see the like your royals, your celebrities, when they come back online, doing the same thing with excursions, you've got to take their excursion or stay on the ship?
I think initially they're all going to do that. I think they kind of have to, just to control the situation, because right now the CDC has it in for the cruise
Oh,
industry.
yeah, it's,
And I think that they need to prove themselves more than any other destination. I mean, the airlines aren't going to have to prove that they're not transmitting it at all,
right.
but the cruise lines will. And it doesn't make sense, but
Can't fix that. I've tried.
Mhm.
a lot of stuff with the CDC makes no sense. I've never seen a regulatory agency ask the general public for their input on how another agency should operate their business.
Or how a business should operate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bite my tongue because
Yeah.
so much.
So hopefully, the last I heard is that Royal Caribbean Group is going to be reporting after the CDC closes its window for the public to report, which is on the 21st of September, I believe. They will then release their report of what they plan to do. And then the CDC will work with them and the other cruise lines to decide if they're going to let them sail with passengers.
Yeah, it's gonna
First
be,
of the year's the earliest.
What's that?
You think the first year will be earliest for most of the cruise lines?
I think it'll be before that.
better be.
I hope so.
Better be.
I mean, last weekend I booked a December 5th sailing, and I booked it with the hopes that because it's a short sailing,
Yeah,
that it will go. I feel pretty confident about the Celebrity Infinity sail, the itineraries going before the end of this year.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be on the Infinity. I don't think I am. I started looking at the Apex and I'm like, why do I want to spend that much when I'll spend a lower amount and go on the Infinity, and if I get bumped up to the Apex or the Edge, great.
I will gladly take the upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be wonderful if that happened. Even going to the Equinox, or because the Equinox should be in Florida, or the Reflection or Symphony, or not Symphony, Silhouette. That would be a great upgrade too.
Mhm.
Not that there's anything wrong with the Infinity. I love the Infinity.
No, I like that class of ship.
But I think that they may want to use a larger ship. And I've seen other companies report this, that the older ships are not as fuel efficient. There's not as much space to socially distance.
Yeah,
So with the bigger ships, they can spread things out a lot more. I've also heard that we shouldn't be surprised to see, you know, how they kind of stagger the activities. So they'll have trivia, and then after trivia is over, you might have bingo, and after bingo's over, you might have a show going on. They may stack those more on top of each other so that people can't go to everything. They have to decide, and so it'll naturally lead to more social distancing.
yeah. Cruising is just going to be not what we've all experienced in the past. It'll be different, at least hopefully for a while, and it'll go back to some sense of normality. But yeah, Karen and I we're keeping our fingers crossed for our Christmas cruise.
And I would say it is likely that masks will have to be worn
Yeah,
embarking, disembarking, and quite possibly at least part-time when you're on board.
yeah,
I could see walking to and from your rooms, maybe in the theater.
definitely.
possibly.
Yeah,
I don't know how much they're going to require because now the sailings in Europe, they're not requiring mask wearing most of the time. Sometimes on the cruise they do, but for the general cruise, you don't have to. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
One other thing I ran into or ran across was that the newer ships tend to have much better air handling.
Yep.
And so they can reconfigure the amount of fresh air you're getting versus that old stale stuff that we're used
Right.
to. So that may be another reason for newer ships to be put into service first.
Yeah. Better filtration and more air exchanges per hour. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's I think the like I said, the cruise industry they get hit because they have to, there's foreign people coming into the United States on the cruises, and that's part of the reason that they're required to report to the CDC all the time. And because of that, we hear a lot more about any little issues. And the last thing the cruise line wants is to have any issues so that they have to report it and so that they get a black eye again.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's deserved.
I think I'd rather be on a cruise ship than at my local grocery store. So.
Bill, I feel the same way. I feel more comfortable being on a cruise ship than the local Lowe's, Target, Home Depot.
And you know they're trying, but they don't have the control over the employees, or they're just not trained as well. And it takes them a while to get used to wipe off the credit card machine, wipe off the keyboard, wipe off this. It's hard to get used to all of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Tanya shared the link to the fan in the chat if anybody's looking. She gave the regular Amazon link rather than the smile.amazon.com, but you can get it there too, and set up your smile.amazon.com account to donate to Toad Gifts Back while you're at it. So I just had to throw in that plug.
Details to follow.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.